Hi, I'm Recy Dunn, author of Circle of Time, and I'm on Jerry Royce Live.
Hello, and thank you for stopping by. I'm your host, Jerry Royce, and welcome to Positive Power 21 Network, where you get your positive on. This is a worldwide podcast for growth, wealth, and success. Thank you.
Positive Power 21.org, Internet Radio.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and welcome to Jerry Royce Live on Positive Power 21.org. I am the voice of Jerry Royce, and when it's all positive, it's all power. That's Positive Power 21. And today's sponsors are the Resume Guy at career-image.com. He's also having an event tomorrow in Baltimore. So if you want to find out more information, go to his Facebook page at Reginald Resume Guy Gant. Again, that's Reginald Resume Guy Gant. The event starts at 6 o'clock for those of you that are interested in trying to enhance your resume or learn how to brand yourself properly because you're interested in moving to the next level. This is the event you want to go, and I believe it's from 6 to 7:30. So, again, go to his Facebook page, and you'll see him under event. Okay? And also we want to thank FastTechSolutions.net for the Internet. They rebuild and install computer network infrastructures and perform computer repairs. And we want to thank them for everything they have done for us in the past, right here on PositivePower21.org. And REI Heritage Tours in Cambridge, Maryland, home of Harriet Tubman and Underground Railroad. You can reach them at 1-800-522-TOUR. All right? And also we have a new sponsor for today's show, Purple Rose Holistic Health. They specialize in juicing, eating healthy, becoming healthy, and most of all, your mental health. And you can talk to her about her lifestyle coaching services. And her name is Valerie Moore. And again, that's www.purpleroseholistichealth.com. And just because you're a leader doesn't mean you don't need a mentor. She will make a wonderful mentor, to help you get through some of those rough times dealing with your employees, because we're under trying times right now. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for holding tight. And tonight on our show, we got Mr. Recy Dunn. He's the author of Circle of Time. The Circle of Time is a spell-binding story about three men, an elderly man, an old man, and a young man, a secret society known by few as the Circle, whose watchword is sacrifice, service, suffering, and had agreed that its diverse members joined forces against apartheid. This rebel band, unlike other groups, has a different kind of leader, an old man with a vision of the future. And if you want to find out more about it, you can check him out on his website at Books by Recy, and that's RECY. Again, that's booksbyrecy.com. All right, Mr. Recy Dunn, welcome to the show, sir. How you doing tonight?
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be on your show.
Oh, thank you for coming on, man. I know it's been a long time. We've been back and forth for a while, but we got you on here, and we're so happy to have you join us to talk about this mystery suspense novel you have written. And it's very exciting, man, to meet someone this caliber, because that's a hard book to write. We have a few guys that come on here, and it's always very interesting stories. The stories are just remarkable, not just the book itself, but just how you guys formulate your ideas and come up with this wonderful craft. Now, before we get started in your book, Mr. Dunn, can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into writing, how you got your start?
Sure. Well, really, my parents moved down from Louisiana to Galveston, Texas. And that's where I was born, but really we all from Louisiana, around Ruston, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. But I went to high school in Galveston and ran track for Galveston Ball High School, and then I ended up getting a scholarship to the University of Houston and ran track for them. Good. And did a little bit. Then I got drafted because they had the draft back in my days. And I ended up doing a little running for the Army.
All right.
So basically, after I got my degree in accounting and business technology, I spent 20 years in the largest industrial gas company in the world. And what got me into writing was that somewhere around about the 17th, 18th year, I had 7 departments, 150 people working for me, and 22 managers and supervisors working. And I got a little bored where I could just do the job in my sleep. And one day I traveled a lot, and one day I was in the airport, and I happened to see a book by Mark H. McCormick, and the book was What They Don't Teach Harvard Graduates. And so since I was a business-minded person, I grabbed the book to have something to read, and I thought the book was all about business, and it had nothing to do really about Harvard graduates. It had to do about analyzing people, and also where you come a point in your life where you know you're supposed to be doing something else, or you have a passion, but you always find an excuse as to why you didn't do it. And so as I was reading this book, to go all the way back to high school, some of my teachers used to tell me I had a vivid imagination, I should write. And I started to do it from time to time, but I just kept putting it down. And so since I had 3 to 4 hours, because I used to travel from Houston to New York, and also from Houston to San Francisco, so you always had a 3 to 4 hour flight. And a few times I went overseas to Paris, which made it a 9-hour flight. That gave me that gave me the time to actually write. And back in 10 years ago, the PC wasn't as adept and user friendly as it is today. So I wrote all of my first book on a legal pad.
Wow.
And so basically that's how I got started. And I'm a mystery suspense writer, and both of my style is to create an event in present day and then go all the way back 30, 40 years and bring the story forward as to what led to that particular event. And it cost me to do a lot of research, and it takes, my first book took me 3 years to write, and the second book, the current book, Circle of Time, took me about 18 months to write. And basically, I've always had a knack for writing, because I also have a blog called Ask Recy, ASKRECY. You can go on and just put www.askrecy, and you see my blog, and I write on minority issues, and try to help people solve or point them in the right direction on minority business affairs. Basically, that's how I got started.
Good. Wow, that's great. That's a great story, man. Military, college, sports star. That's history. So when is the nonfiction book is in progress?
I'm always a fiction person, so I doubt I ever write a nonfiction.
So you don't think you do anything about this? Well, I mean, you have quite a history yourself. You never thought about that?
Yeah, but in fact, my wife and several other close friends have said and recommended to me on numerous occasions that I write about myself or nonfiction, but I'm not that type of person.
I hear you.
I've done a lot. If you just Google me, you'll see a lot of things that I've done. So it's out there, but it's not for me to tell it.
Yeah. A lot of people like that. Unless they, people who's recovering, a lot of times they have a lot to say, where they come from, coming from darkness into the light. You get a lot of those, mostly as nonfiction, mostly like self-help books. I guess you can say that's what they mainly are, self-help, to help somebody else who's dealing with the same thing. So, someone who lived, an extraordinary life like yourself, it's almost like documented history, but you just don't want to be the one to write it, right?
True. Yeah, that's true.
All right, man. Well, now, when you was in school and you guys were covering like different literature, what type of literature was most fascinating to you of all of them that you guys were reading at the time?
History.
Oh, just the history.
I always was a history buff. I always liked going back and researching people in history. For example, I was a Western fan, and so everyone heard about Custer, and so I said, well, let me find out exactly what this man was all about, and so I would read just about everything I could find on him. Same thing with Churchill, even Hitler. I was curious about how Hitler got started and how did he get as much power as he did at that particular time.
Right.
And so basically history was my forte.
Yeah, that was a very interesting documentary about him, how he rose to power like that. Little guy, with his own vision of insanity. It was crazy, how he was able to get all those people to follow him like that, build an army. And it was crazy. Now, Custer, Churchill, great leaders. So basically, when you were in the military, how far did you go, or how many years did you serve in the military?
I spent 6 years in the military, and in fact, I was. I'll tell you a little story. I spent my 2 years of my duty at the Pentagon, and I worked in an office that was directly under General Westmoreland at the time. And I was thinking of, I went in, I was drafted as a regular Army person. And 2 weeks later, my brother was drafted. And we both got orders to go to Vietnam, but we got called up to the captain's office because they have this rule about sending brothers to a combat zone at the same time.
Right, I remember that.
Right, and they had to go back to World War II, where this woman lost her 3 sons. And I was the oldest, and I promptly volunteered that I would go, and the captain said, no, that's not the way it's going to be. We both went to the typical basic training that everyone knows about. And back in those days, they may have a different name for it now, but we went to AIT, was Advanced Infantry Training, and that's where they teach you, quite frankly, how to kill somebody.
Right.
And so he and I both went to that same training. And so the captain said, no, we're going to look at all your scores. And when it came to night vision, I hit 19 out of 20 targets, which basically means that I hit one friendly. And my brother scored 20 out of 20. When it came to being a sharpshooter or a marksman, his score was about 10 points higher than mine. So make a long story short, my brother score-wise scored slightly better than me. And so they sent him to Vietnam, and they sent me to the Pentagon.
Wow.
And so I ended up thinking I was going to go to OCS as Officer Candidate School to be an officer until one day the lieutenant came running into the bullpen that several of us sit and told me to run down to the commissary to get a general a shoelace. And he kept saying, hurry, hurry, hurry. And the commissary from where we were was, if you ever been to the Pentagon, on the other side. And I said, well, I'd be happy to give the general one of my shoelaces. And then I just go and get a shoelace from someone else later. But this colonel was so jumpy and edgy and bending over backwards just because we had a general in the room, and where I was or where I was stationed, we had 515 generals over a period of time that would come in and get and ask for things or get things or pick up their orders and stuff.
Right.
And so at that time I decided that being in the military on a full-time basis was a little bit limited for me, and so I chose not to go that route.
So you shortened your time. Well, you just did that one. So you only did the one tour then?
That's correct.
Wow. So how did your brother make out in Vietnam?
Luckily, my brother made it out. He did not get injured. He got awarded for saving several people's lives. So he came out okay.
All right. Very good. Very good. All right. That was a good ending to that story. You never know how those things are going to turn out, man. I know you feel pretty bad being the oldest, and, you always think when you're the oldest, I'm the oldest of two siblings, you always think you a lot better than them. Not smarter, but maybe physically you can do things a little bit more canny. You feel out you can survive the moments better than they can. You always
that's true. That's why I volunteered when I first found out.
Yeah. And I probably would have done the same thing for my brother also. No, he couldn't even handle the streets in the neighborhood, so I knew that would have been crazy over there. All right, well, Mr. Recy, we're at the top of the hour pretty much. We're going to go ahead and talk about your book. Basically, looks like a lot's going on in this book. I don't know where to start at. Circle of time. I know you said you started in the present and you worked your way to the past to talk about what's going to happen in the future. So you want to explain to us a little bit what's going on in the book, and then
sure, I'll give you a quick synopsis of the book. Yeah. Basically, the book is centered around South Africa, and it starts back during apartheid back in 1948, and an event happens in South Africa in current period where the government is about to collapse, and the value of gold dropped to an all-time low. The economy was in shambles, and the country, as everyone knows, was run by 10% whites and that controlled the 90% blacks.
Right.
And I wrote this book before Mandela actually took over.
Okay.
And it came out several years prior to that happened. And so basically, the book starts in present day, goes all the way back to apartheid, where the 8 tribes in South Africa have a secret meeting, and they want to get out from under apartheid, and so an old man who is leading them has a vision for the future. And the reason why is what you started out by saying is 3 men. the one of the principal character also is a South African police officer who gets whim of this plan, and he follows them throughout from 48 all the way to current day, which makes them all old people by then, but they're still alive and still carrying out the plan.
Wow.
And each time the police officer comes up against a clue, he finds somebody has been eliminated or killed. And so basically the book starts out with 8 tribes and the 8 leaders of the tribes at that particular time. They all have sons, firstborn sons, who then carry it forward. So basically, you start out with the leaders of the 8 tribes, and then their sons takes up. Each one of the tribes have a different function, and then it goes. And each one of then they go to the U.S. and they all get educated, and they all become like one of the tribe leader is a descendant of Shaka, and so his son Jonathan becomes an army general. The Soso tribe is known for medicine, and his son becomes a doctor, a well-known doctor. And so they all basically becomes the very best at their particular field. And they basically take this knowledge back to South Africa to overthrow the country.
Wow.
And that's basically, and the mystery suspense has the detective on their trail at each time, trying to get a hold of them, and at the particular time back in those days, no one believes the police detective because they think it's impossible that the blacks will one day rule, and so no one believes him, and so that's why it took so long for him to get a hold of the true plot.
Wow. So your time frame for this book, you said was 1948 to around 94?
Apartheid it starts out in 1948, and it ends in 1988.
88, okay. 88. All right. Because I know you mentioned in the book about the apartheid was enforced through the legislation by the National Party government that ruled from 48 to 94.
That's right.
Yeah, so there was a lot going on back then with the government. I guess they were trying to.
And if you've seen the movie Mandela, you will know that he was eventually part of the African National Congress, who was fighting the government at that particular time.
Because he was a lawyer. Was he a lawyer for them?
He was a lawyer.
Okay.
And the book has nothing to do about Mandela. He's not even one of the characters. The book has to do about a group of men who are descendants of tribe leaders who carried the plot all the way out.
Okay. So basically, this secret society, are they kind of like an underground?
They're right. They are underground members of the African National Congress.
Right. So they carried out missions and things like that.
They carried out missions, and the old man, the one with the vision, he had his vision was that if we organize and arm ourselves, yes, we could eventually take over, but we cannot sustain it. And so if we were just become a military state, and so basically we have to have everything in place so that when they do take over, the country will survive and continue to flourish, and also that they will have the support of the international society.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was reading a piece of the review that was done by, I guess, Norman Goldman, I guess the publisher and editor, and he was talking about they had agreed that after they had defeated apartheid, that they were going to do something with their firstborn son. They were going to plant them in the United States. And I mean, what was the purpose of that? To learn our system.
Right, like one of the firstborn sons came from the Zulu clan, and the Zulus were known for their fighting skills.
Right.
All right, so his firstborn son was named Jonathan, but he was nurtured into the direction of being a military officer. And so you follow his career over the period as he rises militarily and get all his accomplishments and success from a military point of view. So he's now the new military. He will become the new military leader.
Oh, okay. I got you.
And so Tombi's son came from a medical field, or that tribe came from a medical field. And so you follow Dr. Rowley's career, and he won the Nobel Peace Prize in medicine, and from a discovery he made, and so he's now the top medical doctor.
Okay, all right.
And so basically, we follow each one of these firstborns.
All right. Now, where would you like to see this book? You know, could you see this becoming a screenplay? Like, I mean, would it be that complicated for them to make this a movie? If someone found it out there?
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because I have pursued that direction. I sent copies off to several people in the movie making business with the hope that maybe they'll pick it up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you picked up an agent? Because I know sometimes they say nowadays you can't get nothing on.
Well, that's true. Nowadays you can't. In fact, I'm in the process of interviewing with some agents.
Oh, good. All right. So you had the time to entertain this type of career now, because you pretty much in your, I guess you could say, the second part of your life where you're going after your interests, more so than
Well, yes, because you mentioned earlier that you was in the corporate America, and I have always been somewhat successful in corporate America, and and so I've been chairman of the Better Business Bureau for Houston, and I also been port chairman of the Wars Board for Galveston, and also been president of African American Chamber of Commerce for Galveston County.
Right.
And then that led into a lot of other different roles. So you could say for 30 years, I've been mostly a business person, and traveling a lot, and willing and dealing a lot of things for the city and for certain political people. And so when I go back to, you asked me how I got involved, in the back of my mind, when I first started, I always wanted to write, but my involvement in the political process and in the business process, I always used that as an excuse why I couldn't write. And so now at the later, now I have kind of shuffled a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm not as involved as I used to be. I'm still somewhat involved, but now right now, and if you go to my site, Ask Recy, you'll see that people write to me and ask me questions about business and how to get started in certain areas, and I will share some of my insights as to what they need to do. So basically, I now is giving back a lot of what I have picked up over the years, or try to.
Okay. So you're doing a lot of consulting work and mentoring to future business leaders? Okay.
That's
right.
I'm
on the site now, and you have done business consulting, which is real estate, insurance, and financial services. So you do all of that. Wow.
Oh, yeah, I'm also a realtor.
Okay, good. So is things getting better in the States? Because I know, the real estate market, I guess it tells you the story, what direction we're going in, especially when
right now it's a seller's market, and especially in the Houston area. And the market has changed tremendously than it was 18 months ago. We in the Houston area, you put a house on the market, and you may get 4 or 5 offers the same day.
Wow.
That's awesome. Things have certainly changed here in this area. So basically, I do several things. I on my own. We have a husband and wife team that call ourselves Homes Done Right, and we involve in real estate. Then plus also I write on the side, and then I also have a blog on the side.
That's right.
And then I consult. Also, if anybody wants my advice, I try to help them out.
That's right. They get to email you directly. Okay. Now, Mr. Recy, now, since you're involved with the business in the area, I have read a couple articles that they actually started drilling again in, I guess, in the Dallas area in Texas, and I think South Dakota, and one other state. And that is, so in other words, they're trying
offshore.
Right. So they're trying to bring everything back over here. So because it's been a number of years since they've been drilling in the United States, correct?
Right. That is true.
And what is that doing now is bringing all the jobs to those regions, right? So that's
one of the pushes that President Obama is trying to do is to bring jobs back from overseas back into the U.S. to try to lower the unemployment. Like, for example, the reason why I got involved as the port chairman of Galveston 10 years ago is because Galveston being a tourist island, if you lived in Galveston, you either was in the tourist area, in other words, or in the restaurants, the serving of customers and that type of living, or you was a professional working at University of Texas Medical Branch. And so Galveston didn't have shifts, port shift. We had a terminal that went dormant. And so one of the things that we ended up doing that I was involved in was getting the cruise industry to come back to Galveston to create another line of ways for people to get a job. And now Galveston has a cruise ship going out. We have the three major cruise terminal ship going out of Galveston, and that business has tremendously improved.
Yeah, bet it has. Yeah, everything comes together when the real estate business is doing well, and then especially now you're talking about they drilling for oil, and it's bringing a lot of different type of jobs in that region. Because I was actually handed the average salary supposed to be around $50,000 in those three regions.
That's true.
Yeah, that's incredible. Because I was actually working in human resource on a leadership development detail, and I was noticing how all of the external hiring has kind of had taken off a bit, and you weren't getting as many people coming from other regions as before. So now they were concentrating their efforts on some of the guys that were coming back from, from Iraq and Afghanistan. A lot of the guys that was in leadership positions. So things look like it's starting to turn around now. So that is great. All right, Mr. Recy, it sounds like you got a great second career going on. Doing what you want to do, and I think that's always the name of the game. After you finish doing what you needed to do to make sure that your family.
Well, you're entirely correct, because when I was in corporate America, I made way in excess of six figures, and when I went out of town and conduct transactions for the company, and I had corporate jet waiting on me, and the pilots would come and get my bags and take me to wherever I need to go, and we flew, and I did the business, and I came back. I come to find out that that's not really what I wanted to do, but I got caught in being successful at it and making a lot of money at it, but at the same time, I really wasn't truly happy at it. And just like everybody will soon find out, money don't buy everything.
That's right. That's true. That's true.
You have to enjoy what you're doing, and so you're right. Now my second career is basically doing what I really wanted to do all along.
Yeah, it's like that. Now the missus was happy. I mean, I'm sure she got the house she wanted and the fabulous vacations and the wardrobe that she wanted. I mean, that your money was able to buy. Correct?
That is true.
Now, did you guys have any children?
We have. I got 5 children.
Wow!
Wow!
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, my oldest son graduated from Stanford with 2 masters. I'm proud of him.
Wow! Very good. So you have just the one graduate, or the rest of the kids?
No. Then we have 4 boys and 1 girl. 4 of them have. The youngest is at U of H now, working on his music music degree, and the other one didn't go to college, was very talented with his hands and could put things together. So he's a certified network engineer, which pays a lot more than a lot of college students.
Yep, that's right. He didn't owe all that money back.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. Very good.
So
very
all
good.
5 kids, we're proud of them. They didn't get into any trouble of any substantial nature.
Yeah, because your wife had to hold it down. Now, were your wife working when you were, when you was working for that big business?
Oh yes.
Okay, so she still had to hold down her job and make sure the kids.
But she was into computer programming.
Oh wow! So both of you guys had demanding jobs then, right?
That's right.
So who you give all the credit to the kids? Since both of you guys had demanding jobs, you give it to the nanny?
Well, no, we didn't have a nanny. No. The first we came from a family that believes that the first 6 years of a child's life should be spent with the parent,
right?
And to set so that they can get their bearings in the right order and know what they all about.
Yeah,
and so basically, with technology, you can do a lot of stuff from the house.
That's true. That is true. All right. That's very good, man. Very proud of you. It's good to hear stories like that, man, because you don't always hear. I mean, especially since I've been doing this show, I listen to stories from people from all over the world, from the hoods of California, from the hoods of Boston, and then especially the dirty South, man. I'm really surprised with some of the stories I'm hearing coming out of Memphis. You know, how some of these people are living the way they live, and then some of them are actually coming out of some of this poverty and becoming successful authors. So I hear a lot of stories, man, on abuse and you know, kidnapping. I mean, jail life. You'd be surprised, you know, and the stories I've heard in such a short period of time. I just launched this show pretty much 2 nights a week since beginning of June. And before that, I was mostly interviewing people I knew in the government in my circle, you know, to help me, you know, get my craft down and learn the business again. Because I've done this like a couple of years ago. But I'm telling you, man, the way I know life has always been hard, but I've never heard the stories I'm hearing now that I, you know, back a few years ago.
One thing I noticed, I'm going to put out on my all my blog as well as Twitter and Facebook and linkage is we need to. I was on your site now. You need more followers.
Well, you talking about on my Twitter account?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we working on that. I got some young people coming up with some strategy on that. But mostly all of our plays come from the replays. When we run these shows back, it hits like 5,000. Plus we got a couple other websites, so we get about 30,000 to 40,000 people to our website. We're trying to get them over to the company that hosts the site, so they actually record everything. The company, but we have and plus we deal with government people. We have a newsletter that travels out to about 3,000 folks. So a lot of people are hearing the shows and find out a lot about the office. A lot of these people are new to the urban, and your genre is completely different because there's not a lot of mystery suspense novel writers, that's black, that's quite known right now, but to them. But we're working on that.
That is true.
Yeah, because in the D.C. area, it's a circle of these guys that's pretty much around I guess they call it the Gold Coast, traveling from down, I guess, Jersey, Philly, all the way down to California, and they kind of have a little group going on. So you may want to find out about this guy. They network through a company called Intrigue Publishing up in New York.
Intrigue Publishing, okay.
Yeah, up in D.C. It's head up by a guy named Camacho, Austin Camacho. You Google him, and he has a newsletter that goes out. It's called Intrigue Publishing. I can send you his email, and you can make contact with him. Yeah, because they actually get together, do signings and everything. I know you like to travel, so you probably won't have no problem coming up this way. And they do a lot of different things, man. So I think you enjoy networking with those guys. And they call themselves the Mystery Men.
The Mystery Men, okay, yeah, I like that.
Because there's not a whole, I guess when you do find some of our people that's doing those things, you really want to get involved with it. And they're really good guys. I haven't had a chance to meet all of them in person, but I know Austin, I've been knowing him for a number of years now when I was first into this. But, I appreciate you being on here, Mr. Recy. And I was going to say, we're going to work on that Twitter. The guys are working on that. So, and one of the things about Twitter is that it's like you don't really know that audience there. Well, I look at some of those people's background, and they from all over the place. To me, it's more segmented when you deal with Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Because those people are interested in the genres that you promote. So that's why I didn't really spend a lot of time with Twitter. Because, like, one time I was hitting a lot of African-American authors, but then after a while I'm starting to get, like, songwriters, producers, boxers, hip-hop people, and a lot of people from the UK, people who just specialize in marketing. So then you find out you're getting people who are in the business, but they're not going to buy from the people I'm trying to promote. So that's why I wasn't really focused, because I didn't understand how they segment Twitter, So Facebook seems to be better because now everything is grouped. Everybody have common interests are in those groups.
That is true. That is true. You can set up a different Facebook group with. You can also do the same thing with linkage. Yeah,
that's true. You can. LinkedIn is pretty interesting product too, because I work for Social Security, and I know they were coming in trying to promote their business model to Social Security. I guess so they can find better, be able to do better recruitment. but they wanted
Right.
to charge them a lot of money to do it. So they definitely looking to get into, they want to make some money right now, leaking. And that model's a little kind of confusing to me too. Like, what are they trying to do? They trying to make money off of the people who are looking for quality employees. So it's not like it's that social. It's not that social to me anymore. It's more professional. But if I'm pushing somebody's book, leaking really doesn't really help me because those people trying to get a job that's on there. They up there contacting me because they want a job. So it's like I don't think
I get a lot of following from other authors also.
A lot of authors.
LinkedIn. Mm-hmm.
You said authors, or you found a lot of
authors.
Right, I use them to look for authors though, but I don't use them to promote anybody's books.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. You're right. No, that's not the site to where you want to promote somebody's book.
Right, because that's the whole business model of this podcast is to have you guys come on, talk about yourself, get fans interested, and then they buy your book. Because Amazon is really helping you guys out like more than anything. I mean, they're giving a sample of your writing. They got the a one-click purchase. Money go right in your account. What it takes like 30, 45 days for the money hits your account?
Well, one of the best things that Amazon does is look inside the book.
Right. You get to see. Right. You get to look at the book.
They figure out, like if you go to the bookstore, most people grab a book and skim the first few pages to see if they really like it.
Yep. That's true.
Well, the Amazon does the same thing. They let a person go and look through the inside of the book for the first chapter or so, and they can read it and make a decision as to whether or not they want to purchase it.
Right, and guess what? See, that's how we help them. They're reading your writing. They're trying to make a decision, and say they run across an interview, they run across your website, and they say, "Oh wow, this person is really plugged into the author world," and then see a lot of authors are actually switching up writing different genres too. They're trying to pull in another audience. It's almost like they're saying they already know what their potential income is for that first genre, so now they're going to try to hit another one and try to get this more money out of that same fan base, so they can double their money. I have girls on this show that are making incomes of $25,000 a month, and they're cranking like 4 or 5 books like in a short period of time, like 2-3 months. Like, some publishers are asking them to release books like every 4 months. So they want you to do those trilogies now.
Yeah, I see them though. Most of those are real short books that you can put together real quick.
Yeah, 100 pages.
Right, and
download. Kindle download.
The minimum, I mean, my books is at least 90,000+ words on up.
Wow.
Right, and because it's the chosen style of writing that I chose. Anytime you go back in history and bring somebody forward, you have a lot to say.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of research.
Right. And also one of the things I do, if I'm in 1960, I'm going to mention what happened that year. So, and I'm bringing you current. So, if I'm in the year that Martin Luther King got assassinated, that's going to be mentioned, so that the reader who is reading this will remember what happened in that year.
That's right.
Besides the story I'm telling.
Now, Mr. Recy, who's helping you publish your book? Are you publishing it under your own name, or you actually have a sponsor?
Well, the book right now is I chose a publishing company called BlackRoseWriting.com, and that's who published the current book.
Oh, okay. I thought that was your logo, Black Rose.
No, that's not my logo. No. Well, I had help in designing the book and stuff, but no, that's their design. They
Okay.
presented that as one of the things, and we decided to go with that one.
Okay. Black Rose Books. Okay, I never heard of them. So
Yeah,
they
it's
small
called.
press?
If you go to www.blackrosewriting.com,
Black Rose Writing.
www.blackrosewriting.com.
Yeah. Yeah, I clicked the logo, and it didn't come up. It just came up under Yahoo. Now, are they a small press?
Yeah, small, right.
Okay, where they based out of? I never heard of them.
Texas.
Texas?
Yeah, right
Okay.
outside of, I believe it's San Antonio.
Okay, and they have several genres. They write action adventure. They have children books, historical fiction.
Yeah, they're not, they're not one of the major Random House, publishing company, but they're pretty successful at the venue that they concentrate on.
Now, did they approach you? Did you have to submit your writing, or they approach you and say, "Hey, we saw you out there. We're interested in picking you up"?
Well, I was initially approached by them. They saw, I guess, one of the other writings, other books, and something, and the editor contacted me and talked about their services, and we agreed. And next thing, I was sending them drafts.
So you've been pretty pleased with them?
Yeah.
How the relationship
Yeah, I've been
is?
pretty pleased.
Okay. Now, do they arrange your book tours for you, or your team is responsible for that?
They will arrange book tours for you, and also publish words out. But it's mostly in all, even with the well-known people. I mean, well-known. You have to actually help promote yourself also.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're Hillary Clinton, everybody know who Hillary Clinton is.
That's right.
So it's like an automatic for some of these well-known people that's in the press every day. But for most people whose name is not out there, you have to help the publishing company publish your book also.
That's right.
You do your circle of sphere of influence, and you hold books. Like, for example, on the first book, I went to a lot of black events and set up and bought a booth and brought my books there. And then when that got a little successful, then I found that they were having something in the Reliance Center. That's something adjacent to the football stadium where they hold conferences. And I set up. I bought I got with another author at the booth for $500. So she and I split the cost. We set up, and we brought our books there, and thousands of people were walking by, and we sold many books to make it well worth our while.
That's right. Yeah. So when you do an event like that, how many books you need to move to break even?
Well, depending upon the price of the book, but like, let's say, for example, that booth rental cost us $500. Well, only thing we had to do basically was sell 20 books, and we basically will break even on the cost of the den, which we sold a hell of a lot more than that.
Right, because your books are selling for what was almost $18 on Amazon. So when you sell it in person, do you sell it a little cheaper when you sell it at an event like that?
Oh yeah. Ex-employee of mine found out that I wrote a book, and she had a department of 60 people, and she wanted to give each one of them the book.
Wow.
And so obviously I cut her a deal, and I didn't charge her the full price.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, to me, if she wanted to give my book out to 60 people, I was pleased that she wanted to do that.
That's right. That's right.
Like,
Now,
because
you
that's,
think it's
you
going
know,
to...
that maybe not all 60 read it, but if just 10% of them read it and told their neighbor.
That's right. They can become a fan. Now, you think
That's
it's going to ever
correct.
become a time when, you're enjoying the luxury of your fan base growing from social media and take this baby under your own name? You think that 'cause since you was such a successful businessman, you think that'd be something you think you'd like to take on and maybe carry some other authors?
When you said my own name, the book is under my name, and the blog is under my name.
No, I mean, as far as like not carrying Black Rose, like splitting the profits.
Publish it myself.
Right. Yeah, your own brand. It's strictly Recy Dunn Publishing or whatever the name would be, and you carry the rest of your series, like what Mr. Austin did. Austin, he was picked up originally by I think a few other publishers, but then down the line he said, "Hey, why am I splitting the profits with them when I have the fan base now?" They know his name.
I would like to, right, because, a lot of the well-known successful radio hosts have such a large fan base that they do publish their own.
Yeah,
because they don't have to, because they have such a large following. And yes, I would like to get that in that position one day.
Yeah, that'd be great. Now, you plan on writing, like, how many more mystery novels you think you want to write before you switch up and try something else?
Writing a third one. I'm on a third one. And hopefully I'm getting better at the trade. Like I said, the first one, Circle of Time, that was a political mystery, and that took me 3 years. And then Circle of Time took me 18 months. I'm learning as I go, and I'm developing a file of certain events and certain things that would make it easier and quicker for me. I'm not going to change my style because I think it works best for me, and I enjoy telling the story in that manner.
Right.
I just need to pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I can see. Right, so in other words, you like to put out, at least 3 books a year?
That would like to be my goal, maybe 2. One. Well, I wouldn't say 3 a year because writing something in the neighborhood of 100,000 words is quite a bit, even for even the well-known authors. So I would say once a year would be satisfactory.
Yeah, one of the things you said that's tend to be trendy, that a lot of the writers are writing the books shorter. They get through the story. The next thing you know, they release another book 3 weeks later. The next month is a book out, another one, and then they switch up. And their fans are following them and kind of pushing them to write that way. It's like they want a fast read. They don't want the book to take them a week to get through. They want to get through it in 2-3 days because they so, memorized by the characters. They love the characters, and they want to find out what the character's doing next, like reality TV. So it's almost like, so it's like they write for the fans, like TV. Because that's what I'm finding out.
Reality TV and yes, and they, I don't fault any authors that want to take that approach, as long as they don't forget what got them into writing in the very first place.
That's right.
Because the quicker you turn them out, in my opinion, you lose the quality. Mm-hmm. When I mean the quality, I don't mean editing and stuff. I mean you lose the quality of the writing.
Right. So do you think the stories get watered down and start to sound the same?
That's right.
That's right. But after a while, I find that fans start becoming a little more mature, and they start looking for a little bit more substance, something more challenging, more intellectual. So they grow. A lot of those girls are dealing with young readers. A lot of the girls in their 20s, their 30s. once you get in your 40s, you look for something a little bit more substance, I guess, as you grow as a person, like you get in a business. Like for me, I used to only read books that was associated with people getting in business, success stories, and motivational
Well, yeah, that's
stories.
true. And when I was in corporate America, that's all I read. I read everything that I could find my hand on that would make me very successful business-wise.
That's right.
All right, and then as I go, but share something with you. My oldest son is 40 years old, and I'm just mentioning this, what you just said about taste change. I wrote my first book 10 years ago, and he never read it because he was 29 or 30 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so a couple of weeks ago, he says to me, Dad, I finally got around to reading the Cinquefoil Connection. And he said, do you know you wrote a book about the first black president before there was a first black president?
Wow.
And I said, yep, that's what it was about. And he said,
10 years.
And he said, and I said, well, why now you're just not reading it? He said, that wasn't my style of reading back then. I'm older, I'm wiser, and I go for more substance now.
That's right. You were the man. You were the man. All right. Well, look, Mr. Recy, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man, sharing your project, your career, your family life, your stories. I really appreciate that. My dad is like one of my big fans, and I keep saying to myself, I said I'm gonna have to find some more mature authors, because I've been finding all these people in the same, groups that are young, and they writing for, younger people. So I said I'm gonna have to, and I've been finding a lot of Christian writers lately. So I'm moving around a lot. I got my people moving around, especially on Twitter. I think it's the choices of people are more. It's more variety. So I really appreciate you, man, reaching back out for us, man. Give us a second chance to get you on here. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for asking me.
You're welcome. Before you go, is anything you'd like to leave our fans with? This is going to be replaying for a very long time, man. Even when both of us probably dead and gone, this will play. It will live on.
The only thing is that anyone that's listening, if they like a good mystery suspense with a history to it, go and purchase a copy of Circle of Time, and also my first book, the Cinquefoil, Cinquefoil Connection, about the first black president before there was one, is still out. Please pick up a copy.
All right. And his website is booksbyrecy.com, and just hit replay, and they will be able to catch up with you. And you're at authorhouse.com.
That's right. Or they can go to if they are interested in business ideas and have some questions about business, they can go to askrecy.com and click on the Ask Recy link and see some of the blogs I've written about getting into business or handling certain business matters.
That's right. Amen. All right. And congratulations to you and your wife raising, you said, 5 successful children. That is unheard of this day and time. At least, I guess the circle I travel.
Well, I don't serve any kudos from that. My dad raised 9.
Wow.
And and so I have to give him kudos. He's not around anymore, but he raised 9 very successful kids, and he also used to have a little saying I sign off with. He used to be a mechanic, and he got the opportunity to get his first mobile gas station, and he ended up going from 2 bays to 8 bays and getting the police department contract and the fire department contract. And I'm known as a junior, and he always said to me, "Junior, not bad for a guy with a 7th grade education."
That's right. Wow. He's a real
and I always remember that, and I always admired him.
That's right. That's what you call a real businessman right there. Self-taught. All right, Mr. Recy, appreciate it, man. And when your other book is released, please reach out to us, man. I'm hoping to be going strong by then. Maybe a million.
I certainly will, and I appreciate the opportunity. I did listen to a couple of your broadcasts, and I'm going to obviously hashtag you to my site and let everybody know to listen to your deal.
All right. Appreciate it, sir. Appreciate it. All right. This is
Jerry
Royce
thanks again.
Live. You're welcome. This is Jerry Royce Live at PositivePower21.org. Take care, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Positive Power 21 Network. Team 21 would like to thank you all for tuning in, and please spread the word and tell a friend. This is Jerry Royce at Positive Power 21, where we get our positive on.